the Luna Award Series Tour. I am Bianca Sandoval, and I serve as your chairwoman for the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association. It is such a pleasure to welcome you to our final stop for the Luna Awards virtual tour here in DFW. We hope you have enjoyed each series of our virtual tour throughout the state of Texas. We know our DFW panelists come with a wealth of experience, and we are beyond grateful to have today's speakers join us and share their incredible experience for this tour. We would like to thank our corporate partner, Ferrovial Weber, and encourage you to engage with them on all social platforms.
Good afternoon, Luna Dallas participants. We are at the final stop. It's Veronica Torres bringing you our final self-care session with the Luna Series Tour. And I am so proud to be in our hometown, Dallas, Texas, bringing you an amazing conversation with incredible speakers. And we get to announce the honorees and the awardees for the session. Just like any other session, we're inviting a little moment of self-care for you during this time. And today I want to focus on you, getting into your space, enjoying the session with a little inspiration along with a mental guided exercise for manifesting your best and allowing just a moment for you to get comfortable and practice self-care for you today. So we'll get started. For every one of my sessions that I do personally, I always encourage you to set an intention for what you want to happen for you today or even in the future. And today's no different. I brought my little manifestation cards for our final session together. And what I'd like to do is pull a little intention card from my Universe Has Your Back. And it's just another aspirational card deck that entices you to create your best life, to have great thoughts about what's going to happen, and to enjoy this moment. So I'm going to pull a card from today's deck, and we'll use it to thread through our self-care session. So on our deck card, it says, in any moment, I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. So just like in the theme of Luna, stay inspired, go inward, share your love, your peace, and your quietness to expand yourself and all that you desire. So let's get started. Find a nice, comfortable seated position wherever you're at. If you're seated on a chair, just make sure that you're mindful of your feet. Have the feet both touching the ground, no crossed legs for this session. And just begin by sitting nice and long, visualizing your spine as a lightning rod as it enters into a deep connection to your energy. So sitting nice and long, rolling your shoulders back, and perhaps bringing your palms to your knees or the top of your seat, kind of cupped like this, or just having them face up. And bringing your chin to a nice even tilt, elongating your spine through the neck. And I want you to, for this very moment, just close your eyes and enjoy my voice for the seconds that we're going to be together. Bringing the tongue to the roof of your mouth and just begin breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Relaxing your body, letting go energetically of any thoughts that are perhaps giving you a little bit of push today, and just sit in the moment of silence for ourselves. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, allowing our body and our mind to relax. I want you to bring your awareness to where you are today, perhaps starting with where you are in your room, releasing any noises that are distracting you. It is incredible that the Luna experience is bringing self-care to you. We know that these are times that we need to practice stillness in ourselves. And I want to invite you to do that just by sitting in this moment with your breath, allowing your breath to scan your body and see where you perhaps need a little love through sending breath to that area, maybe any tension in the neck. We're going to sit here for just a few breaths in silence together. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And for the next moment, I want you to bring to your mind's eye perhaps a goal that you want to accomplish today. And just for today, we're going to focus on that goal. That goal can be a task. It can be a conversation. Whatever it is, just bring it to your mind's eye and feel the emotion that comes with you setting and saying to yourself what this goal is. Perhaps it's doing nothing today, allowing yourself a day of rest and solitude. Now bring to mind how you feel when you think about this goal. Does it bring you any form of stress or anxiety or tension because you're worried about how to accomplish it? Does it bring you joy and excitement for what's to come? Allow your breath to relax your body and just keep your mind on that goal. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. And just let us sit here, taking in each breath. Focus on the goal. Focus on how our body feels. And begin to slowly release the thought and trust. Giving yourself the confidence to believe that it will take place. Feeling a little more peace with every breath as you release the thought, knowing that you are releasing in trust to the universe. Feeling a little confidence that this will happen and take place. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Let us sit here and enjoy this beautiful moment that you have for yourself. Recognizing that honoring your self-care means becoming fully aware of where you are and your intention to complete whatever it is that is in your mind. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. No rush, just breath. Again, releasing whatever happened earlier today. It's now a memory, and just sit in the current present moment in full breath. And no worries for what's to come because it has not happened. Honoring your space with your breath, perhaps feeling yourself, filling the room. Now I want you to follow my voice, and I want you to take a deep inhale in through the nose. Hold it for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Holding on the exhalation for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale in through the nose. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale out through the nose. Holding 4, 3, 2, 1. Now come back to your natural breath. I want you, with your eyes still closed, bringing your hands to your heart center, taking in a natural breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeating after me, I am safe. I am healthy. I am loved. And I am strong. Now visualizing all of us as a community together, gather today for the Luna Awards, and let us send the same mantra to all those that are gathered today with us, saying we are healthy. We are loved. We are safe. We are strong. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Now bringing your hands back to your knees or how you had them before. Slowly bringing our awareness back to the room around us, wiggling our hands and our fingers, opening our eyes, and just taking another deep breath together in through the nose and out through the mouth. Thank you all for joining me today for this amazing Luna Tour. I'm excited to hear the Dallas speakers help us understand the ins and outs of working together, especially for our women out there in construction, architecture, and engineering. We are thrilled that you can take a moment today for self-care and get prepared for an amazing session. I wish you all the best. Good luck. Enjoy the rest of the session. Namaste.
Hello, everyone. We are thrilled to be here, and it's time for us to close out our Luna Series and Awards in DFW. My name is Kamisha Mason, and I am your Luna Chair for this year and also the Diversity Director for McCarthy Building Companies. I am honored to serve as today's moderator for a great conversation and session with our panelists. We are filming live today, so this means we get an opportunity to have an amazing, engaging conversation. So as you're looking into the chat, feel free to put in your questions, but you have to make sure to go into the panelist and attendees panel. So if you want questions to our great panelists, please put your questions there. Today, our discussion is around innovation, and women bring big ideas to the yard. This conversation is innovative, it's engaging, it's an opportunity to share our ideas and how we transform our careers and how we can make our jobs a little bit easier. We all love a few DIY hacks, and it can never hurt to make our jobs just a little bit easier. I want to go ahead and get our participants into the conversation and share with you a little bit about who our panelists are today. We have Elizabeth Ponce, CEO of Picasso, and Helen Rivero, COO of Gemini Rosemont. We also will have Summer Billingsley, partner of Billingsley Company, joining us live from conversation. I'm going to go ahead and start with Helen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Kamisha. I'm Helen Rivero. I've been in commercial real estate for 28 years. I started as an analyst long time ago, and through years of training and expertise and some great mentors, I'm now the COO of a commercial real estate company. And we have offices all over the United States, and I work with investors in Hong Kong and Moscow.
Very interesting. And Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth Ponce, President of Picasso Contractors. Now I've been in business for about 17 years in construction. We do selective demolition, and we also specialize in asbestos. Just been in the industry quite some time, have seen how women have now been a part of this industry and how we've been, kind of become now the go-to in some areas that, women are in construction.
Fantastic, and I've had an opportunity to work with Elizabeth on previous projects. And before we get into our discussion, I also want to take some time and read Summer Billingsley's bio. Summer focuses on multifamily design, construction, marketing, and brand development. In addition, she's responsible for overseeing all retail development, marketing, and leasing. She joined Billingsley in 2014 as a retail asset manager and earned her bachelor's degree from University of Southern California in 2009. She also has a master's in real estate development from Columbia University. And that's our intro of our amazing panelists. So I want to go ahead and let's get started. Let's get into this conversation. I'm going to start with you, Helen. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about how you connect with women in your field.
Well, I think the most important thing is we have to hire women in this field. I'm in commercial real estate. It's very much a male-dominated industry and has been for a long time. So we got to start with hiring women, and we got to give them the tools they need to be successful. And in my industry, it's pretty detailed technical expertise and technical training. And that's what's important to me, is to make sure women have peers that can teach them and mentor them and support them so that they can grow in their success with the company.
Absolutely. And what do you think, Elizabeth?
I agree with her exactly. We have to be able to bring more women into our industry in construction. You don't see very many women out in the field. So what I've done now, probably I would say 40% of our employees are women, and they get the sledgehammers, the wheelbarrows, and they help the guys. And so that helps them, kind of promote themselves and bring a paycheck home, just like, their spouses. And some of them, they're the only ones that the provider for their family. So bringing them up and encouraging them that this is not only a men's industry, that this is an industry where they can be a part of and grow and become something else, other than just, pushing around a wheelbarrow. They can be managers and eventually become business owners if that's what they seek.
Absolutely. And I think Summer brings in a very unique perspective into this conversation as well. So let's get her take on this question also.
I'm inspired by the Luna story and continue to be inspired by the amount of progress that women have and continue to make in the world of construction. We're at a very unique time within real estate for women where we can make a unique impact on this industry. When you're in a meeting, don't ever underestimate the value that you are bringing to the table just because other people in the room do. Like it or not, you do stand out, which is an advantage. We need to stop thinking about it as a disadvantage that there are fewer women in the industry. You stand out, and they'll remember you because of it. So use that to your advantage when you're speaking in a meeting, because it'll carry more weight what you say. Another thing is, whether it's because they remind you of their daughter, you remind them of their daughter, or because they're not threatened by you, you have phenomenal access to great mentors. So since they're not threatened by you, take advantage of it. Ask as many questions as you can come up with and soak up all of that knowledge, because that is a phenomenal advantage that they're not always willing to give to their male counterparts. So take advantage of that and use it. Another thing is, it's just how we're wired. For better or for worse, we're going to approach a challenge or a problem differently or from a different mindset than a lot of men do. That's not a blanket statement, but it's a sort of fair understanding. So if we're approaching it from a different way, we're often going to reach different conclusions and come to different solutions than our male counterparts. They might not always be the best ones, but it's a new approach and it's a new way of looking at things, and that's not to be underestimated or undervalued either. And so go speak up. Don't be shy to express your opinions because you're the only one with a different approach to something in the room. Say it out loud, and you never know where it could take you. And then don't ever hold back on your leadership, because I'll tell you, it's unexpected at first for some people, but it's never unappreciated by leadership when they see it in a woman, and it's never undervalued. So follow through with your goals, meet your goals, and everything will fall into place. Work hard, be proactive, and show up with a good attitude. It's like the most common sense thing, but it'll take you far, man or woman. And then when it comes to meeting people within the industry, and just building relationships, I love working with women. I work with a lot of women here at Billingsley, but we need to be leaders not just within our own female population. We need to be leaders within the industry. So I would really encourage y'all to make sure you're reaching out to those groups as well. And I think both are very important and valid. But the two that have had the biggest impact on my career were TREC, the Real Estate Council, which is based here in Dallas, and ULI, the Urban Land Institute. Now that'll vary whether you're in construction versus development versus an architect or a leasing, but they're just great organizations. And so if those aren't the right fit for you, find out what the other ones are. And it's not to give up on one. Again, I think both are wildly important, but I think it's important that we take a stronger leadership role in those organizations as well. I've met phenomenal people through both. So thank y'all so much for this opportunity, and happy New Year and happy holidays. Thank you so much.
Sumner, those were some excellent insights. Just to our panelists, they're all eager to hear questions from our audience and attendees. So if you have any, feel free to drop them inside of the chat. Just remember to hit panelists and attendees. We're eager to take your questions. And I want to move on to our next question and really kind of start to focus in on innovation. We know, Elizabeth, that innovation is crucial to our company growth. So how do you go about kind of sourcing ideas? And once you have those, how do you share those ideas throughout your company?
Well, as a business owner and being in this industry, it's really hard to work from the office and maintain, the innovation within the service or within the client or just around us. So, I just go out to our employees and to our clients and say, hey, what do you think about doing this, or kind of bounce ideas, or hey, give me your ideas, and then we kind of put them in place. But I think that, in order for somebody to be successful, you kind of, go out there and give my employees, ownership of some of the decisions that I've made and have them involved. And so that's kind of how I run my business. Yeah, I have a lot of ideas, and kind of, sometimes, like the mother of the household or the wife, you kind of instill ideas in the husband, and then you go home and all of a sudden, something gets done because you told your husband, why don't we get a new dishwasher or something like that? Well, you know what? He fixed it because now it works. Kind of instill the ideas, and then they bounce back. And that's how I do my business, where we get more feedback from our employees and our customers.
Absolutely. That feedback loop and that willingness to accept ideas from everybody in the organization is key. Helen, kind of tell us how you handle it in your organization.
Well, I'll kind of specifically talk about innovation. Innovation is everywhere in every experience of our day. It's from the people we meet, from the experiences we have, from willingness to learn and be open to ideas. In my company, I like to get my team members all together. I call them my subject matter experts. Mm-hmm. They're very specialized in the skills that they have and the work they do. And when you bring that caliber of a team member into a room, they're very powerful as they start to describe an idea or a concept. Each team member feeds off of that energy. It's just very powerful when you put all those people together, the technology and innovation and new ideas that comes from that.
Absolutely. Connecting those new ideas are certainly the things that keep our industry moving. And I want to bring Sumner in and let her kind of build on where we're talking about innovation and sharing those ideas and allowing our companies to grow.
As we all know, innovation is crucial to any development company's success. And so one of the main ways that we have Billingsley have been trying to continue to evolve over the last few years is not only by staying on top of what new trends are in the market, but also by saying who's the body of people, the population that make up the majority of our residents, and how can we best solve for what their future needs and concerns and desires will be. And since millennials, at least on the multifamily home front, millennials make up the majority of our residents, we know that they are hugely focused on experiential moments, the Instagrammable moments, the overwhelming art and entertainment and energy. They want to taste things, they want to try new things, and that's very important to them, and it draws them into properties. The other thing is that as technology has increasingly encroached in more and more of their day-to-day lives, there's a real desperation for and hunger for human contact. So how can we approach our spaces and our design of our buildings differently to help solve for these problems? One way with experience is artwork. So that's something that we've put a huge emphasis on throughout our different properties, whether it's sculpture or art murals or like getting graffiti artists to do hidden gems sort of tucked around a neighborhood, but whatever it is. So that way, when somebody's working from home and they pass a piece of art, or it's your jog in the morning and you're trying to get your thoughts straight for the day, there's just art and creativity all around you. And it's just a small gesture that we can do as a landlord that it's not necessarily what's going to make them sign a lease or want to move to a property, but it is what might make them want to stay and renew. And it's just a nice way to be able to enhance and expand even the creativity of your own residents and make their lives better. So that'd be one. And then another way we've done this with regard to our interiors is when we used to build projects, even just 8 years ago, the amenity space would usually be one large club room, and it'd have a big dining table and a few other things going on, pool tables and all that. Now we've broken up the spaces to be much more intimate, much smaller, so that they're more approachable. If I'm working from home, I don't want to walk into a banquet room and sit alone at a table. I'm going to feel like an idiot. So now we've created these spaces where it's more of that coffee house sort of atmosphere. It's much more approachable. But then because more people are using it, you're more inclined to get to interact and have these human connections with your neighbors. And so it's really helped switch us from building just apartments to building communities. And with that same notion, we've even gone as far as like creating huge entertainment centers to build around our apartment complexes and our office buildings, because you need to have that energy and create that excitement to attract young creative people to want to live in these places. One other just quick thing on the innovation is we used to also keep the personalities of the interiors much more vanilla and sort of something that everybody would be fine with it, but it's not making a bold statement. And we've really changed that, and I'd say the last 5 years, to trying to make it more like a boutique hotel. So one property might be more industrial and Brooklyn inspired and have the rough brick and all of that and be a bit more masculine. Another one might be a bit more British and have some wild sort of over the top wallpapers. And because most people that are in apartments are only going to be in that particular building for a short period. And so we've tried to go very high end quality with the finishes in the unit, but then let's have fun with these other spaces and let this be the living room that you get to entertain in. And then if you sort of outgrow that, you can move to another one of our properties across the street, which has an entirely different personality. So it's really trying to create a unique experience that the residents get to take ownership over.
Thank you for that, Sumner. Hey, we have some really good conversations and questions coming in the chat box. So I want to jump into those. And the first one that comes up is from Yolanda Stray, and her question is around work-life balance and maintaining an exceptional reputation while you're trying to keep both of those in lockstep. As a working mother, I certainly understand where this conversation is going. And so, Elizabeth, tell me what you think about maintaining that work, that family, all of that in balance, and keeping your reputation intact.
Well, I do have 4 kids, and 2 of the smaller ones, the 7 and 5-year-old, do soccer. So I have to really structure my day. We wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, take them to school, come back, to work, and then at about 5 o'clock, try to clock out if I can, if it's all possible. Obviously, as being a business owner, you really can't clock out ever. So you kind of just, juggle things, as the day goes by. But, making sure that you put your kids and your family always first as much as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some occasions where, work comes first. And obviously, construction over the summer, you can't do very much with your kids. We have to be at work. And so they know we never take summer vacations. Our vacations are always in the winter or the spring. And so just make sure that, you always stay positive and give them quality time to your kids. And when you show your kids that, and obviously, they understand it, but also, I take my kids to the job site every now and then, and hey, obviously to secure areas where we can take them and just kind of get the client to meet them and say, hey, these are my kids, or take them by a corporate office. And they can just identify themselves with, hey, you're human, that they can relate to you. Mm-hmm. And that always, kind of helps the situation. And then your family also knows what you do firsthand.
Absolutely. I know at McCarthy we talk a lot about work-life success and not necessarily trying to keep that balance, because you can there's going to be times where there has to be that give and take, and I think COVID has definitely taught us that we've got to rearrange things and get some balance between work and family and being successful. So I want to dive into another interesting question, and this is really around professional development, and this is something that's really important to me. I think we are only as good as our best talent that we have available. So Helen, can you tell me a little bit about how you work to develop your teams, and very specifically how you work to develop the women that are on your teams? And this is an amazing question that comes from Karen.
I'm happy to answer that question, and I'll respond kind of pre-COVID and then in our current situation. Pre-COVID, we would bring in a lot of experts to talk on different topics of customer service or professionalism or work-life balance. We would bring in people to talk during lunch events and different sessions like that. Now it's really tough in this COVID environment is how do we make sure the women in our organization can succeed? I think the beauty of it is now that some of our women can work from home, they have the time to focus on their families, but they also have more time to focus on their work. So I think it's, I believe very much in training and specialized skill sets and providing opportunities for all of us to grow. We can learn every day, and I think training and learning and education is critical in my field.
Absolutely. One more question from our audience, and I think this is important, especially right now. We have seen the impacts that COVID has had on our psychological safety. And so let's understand a little bit more around what happens in our physical work environment day to day and how that impacts our emotional health and how we might possibly be able to use things like art or other things around culture education to enhance where we are in increasing psychological safety and emotional well-being while also working through these difficult times.
I think, first of all, and I go back and forth between the house and the office. I'm kind of 50-50 depending on what's going on. When I'm at home, I create a professional workspace. I have a workspace with closed doors where I can completely focus on my work. I will say on days that I'm in the office, I thrive off the energy from anyone else who may be there. And when you work remotely, it's hard to have that same energy. It's tough, and I think it's important to always connect, whether it's through Zoom or through phone calls, however we can do it with the staff, because that's what drives our energy. That's what makes us really great at what we do, is gathering collective ideas and sharing them with each other. Elizabeth?
COVID did change a lot in our perspective in construction, but not necessarily in my trade specifically, because we always used to wear dust masks, being on the job site. And so it really didn't make a difference as far as, making sure that everybody was protective. But yeah, like, Helen said, that culture needs to be, always vamped up when we are in a job site where we are with the plumbers or with the electricians. We do keep our distance, but just seeing the progress of the project and seeing that there is a result, to what we're doing, because we obviously did demo, take down everything, but when we see everything build back up, that energy is like, you take that with us and put it, forward. But you do have to be able to connect with others to be able to, feel successful and like you're, accomplishing things.
There is nothing like seeing a completed project. I want to talk a little bit about how you all may have pivoted in providing services to clients. Some of that could be related to COVID. Some of it just may be because we're talking about innovation and bringing those big ideas. So how have you pivoted in your businesses to deliver more to your clients?
Well, I can take the question first. I manage a portfolio of office buildings. So when this first happened, we still had tenants coming to the building. So we very quickly had to digest what are the cleaning protocols, how do we make sure people are safe when they're in the buildings, how to make sure we are safe with our team members and with other staff. So the biggest priority was cleaning protocols. We actually engaged a national cleaning protocol service to provide cleaning standards directly to us on how to clean an office building. So that was key. The next thing was working with our marketing and branding to make sure we had signage everywhere to be appropriate to maintain social distancing and all those standards. It was really I found it an invigorating experience because none of us have ever gone through something like this before. So we got us all 6 feet apart in a conference room and worked through all the challenges that we knew we would face. And the last thing we did, which was super helpful, is we pre-wrote documentation or letters or communication to our tenants and to our employees. So if something did happen, we already had the communication ready and we sent it out.
Absolutely. Elizabeth, any changes and pivots for you?
Yeah, I mean, just like Helen said, Helen, we implemented the new service of cleaning within our firm. And so being already on the job sites, obviously the first ones on, we were able to help the contractor in keeping the job sites cleaner and making sure that we were aware and wiping down door handles and tools. There was a video that I put out within the first couple of weeks that helped a lot of people. I got a lot of feedback on how to sanitize our tools, which is, kind of wash them down with Clorox, because nobody knew what we needed to do. So, but that helped us out and keeping our employees safe and obviously the subcontractors around us as well.
Absolutely. I think that's been one of the most amazing things that we've seen over the past several months, just the willingness to cross competitive lines, share best practices, put everything out there, Facebook, every form of social media available. Our competition, our friends, everybody has been putting information out there so that we could see it and learn from each other. And that's also been a good part of the innovative process for all of us. I want to ask a little bit more from one of our most recent questions around looking forward into 2021. And this is another one of the questions from our audience. What is something that you are looking forward to in 2021?
Oh, I'm looking forward to this vaccine. I'm looking forward to us all getting back into our workspace on a normal day. We've learned a lot from this experience, but I want it behind us. I used to travel multiple times a week. I have hundreds of thousands of points on American Airlines. I'm looking forward to getting back into a plane, traveling to see my team members throughout the country, and taking what we've learned from this and the appreciation and value for life, but critically getting us all together and taking the company forward.
Absolutely. Let's bring Sumner into the conversation a little bit and hear some of her ideas around pivoting and innovation and see what we've got going there.
Thank y'all for all of your fantastic insights so far. As we all know, 2020 has been quite an eventful year. And so I wanted to share a few of the ways that we as a company have responded to the COVID pandemic and continued to try to best serve our clients throughout it. One of the ways was we did not close our offices. So we have people living on our properties. It is our responsibility to keep the lights on and be there for them if they need us. And all the more so because people weren't going to work. So by default, there were going to be more issues. And so that was something that we were quick to do and stayed on top of, not just for the multifamily, but throughout the portfolio. Another way that we responded quickly was my mom put together a video that we sent out to everyone in the portfolio saying, these are all of the measures that we have taken to make our buildings as safe as possible and the practices that we are going to be carrying out going forward. And then as well as further recommendations on how you could also take steps within your own home or your own offices. So we immediately added the copper handles to all of the doors. We removed doors throughout our offices. We removed extra cubicles so that everybody was spaced. Our offices were actually already spaced 6 feet apart, but we made it about 10 for everybody. We removed cabinetry. People weren't supposed to use the silverware anymore. Everything was disposable. So we took a lot. Air filtration was overhauled. And then within our apartment communities, really doubling up on the maintenance folks that were going to be there, making sure that they had all the protection gear so that anybody on site that was working was not put in a precarious situation. With our construction sites, getting all the extra sinks on site, everything that we needed, the hand sanitizer immediately, buying the machines so that if there was ever a problem, we could disinfect it, wait 24 hours, all that jazz before getting people. So we really did just go whole hog because we didn't want there to be any room for error that was within our control. Then Another thing that we did that we took initiative on fairly quickly, I feel, is programming for our residents. So we care enormously, and this wasn't just to help people pass the time, but it's caring about your residents' physical health and mental health. So we worked with trainers, bringing them into the courtyards, bringing them into parks. So when people were stuck in their apartments, they could do it from their balconies and have these sort of exercises. We brought in, as well as once they could socially distance outside, they could also do those classes. Then we really capitalized on our outdoor amenities, any trail systems we had, the artwork that I was referring to earlier. We set up art walks for residents so that they could continue to get some creativity and inspiration in what was a very dark and sort of challenging time for a lot of folks. We also then went, it's not just the physical, we care about your mental health as well. And it can be very isolating. If you're in an apartment alone and maybe you don't have tons of folks that you know in town and all that, or even if you do, it's just a very isolating time. So we set up virtual book clubs. We set up virtual game nights between residents. We had virtual cooking classes set up for our residents, and they could order the food and a whole package with all the ingredients. So it's just any gesture that we could do to make you realize you're not alone. Even though you can't see everybody, you're still part of a community very much. One last thing that we did too is we brought in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra, like different members of the orchestra, because they were also struggling with work at the time. So it was a nice win-win partnership. And it was a nice escape and something that we could give to our residents when they were going through this. Lastly, switching slightly different gears to our retailers. We worked, a lot of our retail portfolio is composed of mom and pops. So we partnered with we brought in legal counsel from another firm to give a full explanation and then do about a 3-hour Q&A with any and all of our retailers on how they go through the PPP process and what forms they need to do, what this means, what the repercussions of X, Y, and Z are. And so we really did and then anybody in our company that maybe wasn't maxed out on their work limit at the time, we reapplied them to help actually fill out the PPP forms for our retailers. So we were just all hands on deck, which at a time like this, I don't think there's any way other than that to do it. But all in all, we came out of it with, stronger relationships with our residents and our retailers than we've ever had before. So it was an unfortunate circumstance without question, but that is a silver lining and one positive to have come from it this year. So onward and upward from there, and we're grateful for those relationships.
Thanks, Sumner. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about technology. I'm not the best at using it, but my panelists are much better than I am. So let's talk a little bit about 3D tools like Matterport, or I hear there's some things happening in Google 360. What's becoming the newest and greatest tools that we can bring, whether it's to presentations, document controls, marketing, all of that stuff? What's some of the latest and greatest stuff that's out there?
I can speak to that. The best example I can give is the number one responsibility of my job is to lease vacant office space. And prior to the pandemic, we did that through our brokerage teams, walking a potential prospect through the space. When the pandemic happened, we could no longer walk people through the space, or people weren't as comfortable with doing that. So the video productions, Matterport being a great example, was perfect to show people our space. So we would hire consultants and vendors to come in and film the space, and then we could launch that through several applications, our website, and different tools that we have to communicate with tenants and brokers. So Matterport was fantastic. I think Zoom, if you'd asked us 5 years ago how active were we on Zoom, not so much. I can tell you today I'm on Zoom all day long. And I think that the key is, especially as a leader and as a woman trying to grow in any industry, be proficient in these tools. Don't just look for someone else to show you how to use it. Be proficient, be able to calendar it, schedule it, know where your camera is, know where your audio is, test it out, and most importantly, increase your bandwidth if you're working from home.
I love it. The number of times that I had to get some things reconfigured those first few months were quite interesting, but I nailed it down. I did get proficient in what it took to get my job done, so that has been really good for me. and offered some flexibility that we didn't know was there before. It even changed the way we connected with partners that weren't necessarily in the same, geography as I was. So now I can see them a lot more frequently now. And that takes me a little bit into employee engagement. Obviously, the way that we connect with our partners, the relationships that we have, is a key component in having a healthy and thriving business. What are some of the things that you all are doing to make sure that you keep a really engaged workforce?
For example, on my end, I help promote the women in the industry in my firm. Specifically, there's one employee, Guadalupe Leon, that she was, just working, doing her job, working on the side. But I saw in her that, she was never being told what to do. She was always proactive, is like, what else do I need to do? What else needs to be done? And so I took that from her and I was like, you know what, we're gonna make you a supervisor now. And so we kind of promoted her, and that helped all the other women kind of step up. It's like, well, if she can do it, and she was very quiet and just got her job done, then I can do it. And so that's how I help promote, the women in my industry, in my firm specifically. But also, some of my friends that are administrators for corporations or contractors, I tell them, well, why don't you take on a little bit more work? One of my friends, Myra, she was an assistant and now she's a project engineer. And it's just like, hey, you need to move on and just do more because you have the potential. We do all have the potential. I mean, back in the day, and we would run the households, and now we can come into an office and also run the office. So you have to take ownership of your skills and promote yourself and show people that you can move up.
Absolutely. I love the idea that if you can see it being done in somebody else, it is that window, that path that lets you know that you can get it done as well. What about you, Helen?
Well, I think employee engagement starts with knowing who that person is. From my perspective, I have about 60 people that report to me. I want to know who the individual is. I want to know what they like. I want to know what their hobbies are. I care about them as a person. And when they know that that's how I feel, I think that starts that engagement. It starts it at a very personal level and takes away a corporate atmosphere. So I think that's number one is who are they as people? How many children do they have? What are their hobbies? Who's their football team? Sports is a great way to connect with employees. We start off a lot of calls talking about whatever sporting event is going on. I think it's an open universal tool that gets the conversation going. And I think the second thing is once you know your person at a deeper level, then it's treating them with respect. I work with all levels of team members, and I value the skill set from every single member of that team, and I respect who they are, and I respect what they bring to the team, and they all have amazing skills, and every day that I have an experience with them, I can learn from them.
I love that. We're having a great conversation. I want to take a quick break and hear from one of both of our presenting sponsors at this time. And so let's take a moment and hear from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is Angela Berry Robertson, and I'm the Director of Diversity Contract Compliance for Ferrovial Construction and Weber. We are proud to be this year's presenting sponsor for the Luna Awards Speaker Series. As a past recipient of a Luna Awards, we want to congratulate all the nominees. We, again, Ferrovial and Weber, are proud to celebrate the achievements of women in construction along with the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association.
Welcome back, and this again is a great conversation, so let's dive back in. I want to thank a few of those folks that have been giving us these great questions that I didn't get a chance to call out on the front end, so thank you, Jasmine and Diane. Keep the conversation going. I still encourage everybody that if you want to ask us questions or make comments, drop us a note in the panelists and attendees section of the chat. We'd love to hear it. I want to give you two and Sumner a compliment from one of our audience attendees, and it comes from Karen. She says, I want to live in your building. Such an awesome and empathetic response to the challenges that COVID posed to your tenants. So congratulations to both of you and the environments that you have created for your teammates.
Thank you.
Let's dig in a little bit more and talk a little bit about self-care. It's something that we kind of started off the session with, and there's another question coming from our audience. How do we really take the time to focus on self-care right now? Especially for those of us that have kids at home that we are being asked to teach, do workshops, and manage all the things that we do at home. So how do you keep all those balls in the air and make greatness happen?
Oh, starting with me is the last person to start with. I am not good at self-care at all. I could talk about anything else, but I think I feel better emotionally when I know that I've taken care of everyone around me. I have a lot of responsibilities both at work and home, and when I know that they're happy, then I'm happy, and that my self-care is making sure everyone else is happy. I will say when things got so stressful over the last 5 years, just because of the intensity of my job, I do have a hobby, and I think it's very important to have a particular hobby, and my hobby is riding horses, and I have so much to learn on that, but when I'm trying and learning and working with a trainer, I can put all my energy into that skill, and it gives me a second to pause, and all the pressure goes away, and I'm just focused on staying on that horse and trying to balance the horse and balance myself. And so that hobby has really helped me with self-care because it takes away a lot of the stress.
Absolutely.
That one really hits a nerve on me. Well, I mean, first of all, obviously having I have 4 kids, but 2 are the smaller ones. It's really hard. It's waking up in the morning, getting them dressed, getting them to school, and then showing up to the job site. You know, if I'm not going to the office, I'm going to the job site, going out there, and it's like, I mean, nonstop going. So one of the hardest problems that I have, and I'm sure people can identify, is grabbing a healthy lunch or eating dinner, sitting down at home to eat dinner. And that is extremely hard. And then maintaining your house clean. I am so paranoid about having my house so dirty. And so it's like I get home and I grab the vacuum or I grab the washcloth and start cleaning the table, and those little fingerprints all over the house, makes me so anxious. So it's just, making sure that in the morning when you wake up, just take 5-10 minutes. Obviously, I do my prayer in the morning, and then just relax, sit in my bed, and then it's like, okay, here comes another day. And then just get up, do your routines and go about it that way, and just try to maintain yourself healthy. And I was talking earlier to my makeup artist, and she's like, oh my God, that donut looks so good. I want that. But obviously, try to put more intake into your body to be a little bit healthy. And then just be cautious of what you intake, because obviously whatever you put into your body is what's going to make your energy go on all day. And so taking care of yourself that way, always put yourself first when it comes to those things. Everything else kind of falls into place.
I love that. One of the things that I've learned to do is to capture what matters most for that day. I'm not going to get to everything, right? So I prioritize what I can manage today. And then for any of my partners that are watching, they also know that I have the Calm app on my phone. So when I need to take a breather at work, I listen to the Calm app and everything comes back to center, because you just have to take a break every now and again so that you can continue to be a high level contributor to the teams that you work on and when you're at home. That said, let's talk a little bit about mentorship, sponsorship. We know that there's a big difference between the two. How have you approached mentorship and sponsorship in your organizations?
I'll take that first. Mentorship. Obviously, when I was starting my business, there was several contractors that I was mentored by. And here recently, I decided to pay it forward. I started in February. I took on, it was about 4 or 5 subcontractors that are in the industry. They don't do the same thing that I do, but they're in the industry. And I started mentoring them. We have a monthly meeting to meet with the general contractor that I introduced them to. And on a bi-weekly basis, every Wednesday, we go to my office and we just, talk about what's going on. What do they need help with? Here in the next week, we're going to be talking about financials and how to set up, job costs. I mean, little things that seem to us very small, mm-hmm. and you just kind of do it because that's part of your business. To others that are either just starting or they're struggling, they don't know how to do that infrastructure. So you know, giving that information to them is essential for them. And it was essential for me 10 years ago. So I saw it onto these subcontractors to help them. And now there's a group of 10 that I meet with almost every Wednesday to kind of guide them and show them. But I think that the best part of the entire program that I have going on is that, you know, they send me a text. He's like, oh, you know what? The contractor we just met with last year or last week, I just landed a contract with them, and we're going to be doing this size, and they're just so happy, you know, a $10,000 contract or a $5,000 contract, and that is just very self-satisfaction to know that I was a part of that, or that their business is going to grow because of the mentorship that I gave them.
We absolutely love watching our partners grow. Helen, Josna asked, how do you focus that mentorship and sponsorship around less senior employees that are in your organization?
Well, in mentorship, especially in my field, which is commercial real estate, there's so many great networks out there, specifically for women, that have very strong mentoring programs. And I think either from a team member early in their career, they need to connect with a mentor, or at my level and my time in my career, it's me giving time to be a mentor to somebody. And it's interesting that, you know, not as many people will approach you about mentoring. I think they think, oh, they're so busy or they have so much stuff. But if I get an email from a college student looking to be an intern, or, you know, from anyone who reaches out to me, I welcome that opportunity. I think mentorship and sponsorship are critical elements to be successful in any career. It absolutely has changed my career. Absolutely. And I think from a sponsorship side, that comes within your company. And I think for all of us, you know, you're not competing with your team, you're trying to make your team look great. And if your team looks great, then we look great. And so early in my career, when I was very intimidated with the role that I had, one of my supervisors came in, I was going in front of a huge committee, and he said, I think they're going to ask you this question. And he slid it to me under the table. He goes, here's the answer. And it was just like that kind of support brings so much confidence in something that's such a, you know, it's a technical business. And that's what sponsorship is somebody really believing in you and helping you succeed.
I love it. I love it. Let's talk one moment. How many of you, before we got started, took the time to take a picture in the photo booth? And if you haven't done so, I would love for you to take a moment, click on the link, create your photo. It's awesome. We're not here in person, but it gives everybody a shot to have a good picture from today's event. So we're going to give you a couple of seconds to take your photo, and then we'll jump back into some more questions for our awesome panelists. All right, here we go. All right, let's talk about strategy. We know that we have to have a good strategy in business. We have to have a right path, have milestones in place. Talk me through what you've done to make sure that you have a good path set for yourself, and what has been some of the strategy that you've put in place for you, your role, and your business.
Well, here recently, I've been in business 17 years, and in the 17 years that I've been in business, I just kind of winged at it. You know, I would just do things as like something was presented, let's go after it, and that actually was a learning process, because in 2014, we almost declared bankruptcy because I didn't have a handle of the business. I was just kind of doing things without a plan, without goals, without anything. And here in the last year, we hired this new administrative assistant that has now made sure that we have goals, that has now structured, you know, my day and how to be productive. And so I see, okay, you know what, I should have done this 17 years ago, but, you know, lessons learned. And I believe that, you know, just small goals that you write down and say, I want to be able to accomplish this. For instance, she had said, she's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I want to get new clients. I want to get new projects that are not, because all we did was schools. I want to be outside of schools to do retail or hospitals. And she's like, okay, well, let's write it down. And she wrote everything down. And then she's like, okay, so we're going to bring in 3 new clients. We're going to bring in 5 new projects and at least 2 new industries. And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So went on, and then she's like, Elizabeth, don't forget, make sure we, bring in a new client. And here at the end of the year, we brought in, even through COVID, season, or, this pandemic, we brought in 7 new projects, 3 new clients, and 2 new industries, which we did a restaurant and then we did a hospital. So I just think that goal setting now, looking at it this way, it's absolutely necessary. And where we see ourselves in the next 5 years, we want to open it, bring our new shop, and just buy new tools, and we have a itemized list now, and that is like, okay, that's my drive. I want to be able to accomplish that. So yeah, it's essential to have goals and a plan, because then what are you going to do? I mean, you have to be able to accomplish something.
Absolutely. I want to take a little bit of a different take on that question with you and focus on what are some things that you've learned that you wish somebody would have told you on the front end instead of you having to learn it the hard way?
Again, speaking of my field in commercial real estate, it is a male-dominated industry. And in my opinion, women have to work a little bit harder initially to get the respect and focus and attention that you need in your career. So it's very important to just have that good old-fashioned work ethic. And early in my career, I may not have been the first one in the office. I'm not a morning person, but I was always the last person in the office. And year after year, finally, that became very recognized. I also think what I wish I would have known more is whatever your field is, there's always a technical aspect to it. Be the best at that software. In our field, whether it's Excel or Argus or whatever the software application that applies, be extremely proficient in it, and then you'll become the go-to person for everybody.
Absolutely. I want to dig in that just a little bit more. As we see more women come into the AEC industry, how do we, as leaders in our respective organizations, help to remove those barriers so that they can work at the same pace and be recognized for their contributions without having to break through that wall and do double work to get to some of the same places?
Well, I think as leaders, as I said earlier, we support women, and we support individuals by starting with hiring them, training them, giving them the tools to be successful. There's so much out there to learn and to grow, and providing those opportunities. And sometimes when you're new in the industry, you may not know where to go to get these types of applications and expertise and experience, and providing those opportunities, I think, is so important.
Absolutely.
Looking at it in the field aspect on my end, I would say, sometimes when I show up to the job sites, I want to be able to get that sledgehammer and exactly where do I hit it so that the whole wall collapses like these men do. They hit it at a certain spot and it just kind of crumbles down. So I try to do that, and I was like, okay, can you show me? Can you tell me how to get it done? And then once the women that are around me that are working for us, they see that I get it, and I go and make things kind of look as simple as the men do. Then they grab it as well, and hey, let me take a shot at it and actually do it too. And I think that just helps them. Hey, sometimes starting to, because they're going to make us start at the very bottom. They're not going to show us how to shatter that one wall, but they'll have you picking up all the trash. But if you put your time into it, then you can kind of build up. We can't just go over there and tell these men, hey, give me the sledgehammer, I'm going to show you how to do it. No, it's not going to work that way. We have to use the men to be able to teach us and guide us the right way, but we have to do it in a softer kind of flirty kind of way. I don't know how to do it. Can you please show me? And then they're more welcome to showing you new things, because they have been in this industry a little bit longer, and you kind of just have to use that to your advantage to be able to get anything out of them.
I've got a couple of more questions, and Helen, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk about building a support network. How did you build yours? What does it look like, and has it evolved over time?
I have a wonderful support network, and I wouldn't have the opportunities that I've had without that network. At home, it starts at home, and at home we're partners. It's complete partnership on who can do what and who takes care of certain responsibilities. I have complete backup and support from my husband. It's critical. And then at work, I get support, obviously from my team, but I grew up in the industry with about 5 different women at a similar level 28 years ago, and we still connect today. And we have, meetings after work or whenever we can get together. And spending time with a woman, and I like smaller groups because I think the conversation is more in depth and detailed. That's really important time for me. I need that to connect with a woman because nobody else gets it except for another woman. We balance a lot, and nobody can understand that except for the 2 of us.
Right. I love it. And for you, Elizabeth, I want to hear about some of the tips and tricks that you would offer up to other women in the industry around advocating for themselves, because you talked a little bit about that on the front end of things. Like how do you advocate for yourself if you're not quite sure how to start? Because not everyone knows how to do that.
Well, I mean, you have to be an authentic person. You have to be who you are and where do you want to go, and just put yourself out there. For the longest time, I didn't post things on the media, Facebook or LinkedIn. That's all I have now. But it was a little bit hard to put myself out there. It's like, what are they going to say? What are they going to really interpret when I put this picture? You know what? At the end of the day, I'm putting who I am and what I am out there, and people are going to see you as a genuine, authentic person, and so that's what's going to help you build up. Once you accept yourself and you build yourself up, then you know what, everything kind of falls into place. So you always, like I said, put yourself first and don't worry about what other people are going to say. To go into the aspect of the support system, my support system have been my kids and my mother. She's taking care of all 4 of my kids, making sure they get to school, and has always been there. And yes, I've been through 2 divorces, and I'm in a current relationship with my best friend of 15 years. And he is now a good support system to me. But usually in the past, I've had to go back to my mom and my kids. It's like they were always there with me, and they have been there for me. And so obviously, you rely on them. They rely obviously on me because I'm the breadwinner of the house. But you have to also surround yourself by friends that are going to lift you up. Don't go to a party where everybody's going to bring you down. You know what? Go to a party where everybody says, oh my God, you did excellent, or you did great, or I saw this and congratulations. Surround yourself by those people, positive people. Negative people, leave them, in the background. And if you don't need to see them every day, don't, kind of stay away. Just surround yourself by positive people.
This has been some really good dialogue, and so I'll open it up and just ask both of you, and Elizabeth, we'll start with you. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience today? And the same question would be for you, Helen.
I would say don't always be afraid to share your failures. Some people that know me, Kamisha and John and Yolanda and some of the other people that are in my inner circle know that I have failed in so many different aspects in the business, in life, and that have made me who I am now. And so I shared that with my mentors to kind of help them, because you never know that whatever failure you went through might not be somebody else's failure. You avoid them from that. Being on the verge of declaring bankrupt, everybody's like, oh no, you should, keep that in the hush hush. Well, no, you know what? I didn't. I almost, declare bankrupt, and I build myself back up, and here I am 5 years later, and barely, peeking out. I never thought I was going to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and now it's there. I can see it. It's a little bitty light, but I can see it. But because I was open about it, nobody turned their back on me, and I was always very positive about it. I'm going to get through this. There was times where I would break down, and I didn't want to see nobody, stay at home, shut out everybody. But, if you kind of expose yourself, you be just a tad bit vulnerable, that will kind of help you build up. And just be authentic, and always try to help your, employee, family member or friend, try to put a little bit more towards somebody else than just always, keeping everything to yourself.
I was absolutely encouraged by your resilience through that entire period. I remember we were still chasing a project together, but you were so open and so vulnerable about where you were. And just that commitment to wanting to see you succeed was one of the reasons that we were able to work through it. And I learned a lot. And so I appreciate your story, and it helped me to understand that it is okay to share with close friends and with colleagues just where you are so that we can all benefit from that learning experience. So I appreciate you for that.
What I would say, and add to what you said, which was a beautiful story, is, be empowered by the fact that we are women. We do work in male industries, but we are women, and we're kind, and we're resourceful, we're respectful of people. We can multitask like nobody's business. I think you really have to celebrate who you are as a woman, and that's what makes you great at what you do. I think as I've grown up in this career and seen multiple generations, along the way start, I think what's still so important is work ethic and humility. I think you have to be so humble. I have an incredible job, and I'm grateful for it every day of the week. Very grateful and very humble. And I think those are important aspects, and it makes us lead our teams in a very favorable and positive way.
Absolutely. Thank you both. And Sumner, thank you also just for bringing your ideas and your perspective to this discussion. It's been so important for us to hear this information and to be able to understand how your businesses have grown, how your teams have grown through your leadership. And I think that everyone that's in the audience can certainly appreciate the wealth of information that you've shared with us today. And I hope that conversations like this for women in our industry will absolutely continue, and that we can just kind of build on dialogues like this for all of us. I think we're going to look in here and make sure that we've captured all of the questions inside of the chat. And let's see. It looks like we're good. Thank you everyone for all of your questions. Thank you for all of your engagement in today's very, very important discussion. And I believe it's about time to start thinking about announcing our winners. That's what we're all here to do today. And so we're going to start with the Business Advocate of the Year award winners. I was fortunate to win this award a few years ago, and I'm really excited about announcing the first set of winners. Our first winner for Business Advocate of the Year 2020 is Moses Ito, North Texas Tollway Authority. Congratulations.
Thank you, RHCA, for this award, and I also want to congratulate all the other nominees. Now, even though we are living these challenging times with the pandemic, NTTA is still open for business. Please join us and let's do business together. Thank you all. Mucho gracias.
Congratulations again. Our next winner is John Bonney from Yates Construction. Congrats, John.
Hi there. This is John Bonney, Division Manager for Yates Construction South Texas office. It was a great pleasure to be nominated for this award, and it was a great honor to be the recipient of this award. As a Hispanic business leader, it's always been my passion to advocate for Hispanics and women in the construction business. On behalf of the entire Yates Construction team, thank you very much.
Our next winner is Shantae Gordon, Texas Facilities Commission. Congratulations, Shantae.
I proudly accept the 2020 Luna Award for Business Advocate of the Year in Austin, Texas. I am truly excited to be a part of a celebration that recognizes the achievements of women-owned businesses in the AEC industry and business advocacy during this challenging year. Thank you to the RHCA team for hosting another year of the Luna Awards. In addition, I'd like to thank my Hub team and executive staff at the Texas Facilities Commission for their support. Thank you.
And our final winner in the Business Advocate of the Year category is Tiffany McCullough of Skanska. Congrats, Tiffany.
Greetings. I am incredibly honored to receive the Luna Award for Business Advocate of the Year. Thank you to the Regional Hispanic Contractors Association for this amazing honor. Thank you, Skanska, for allowing me to operate in a space where I can create opportunities and open doors for other women. Thank you to my family and fellow colleagues for their support in this work. Remember, ladies, it's impossible until you achieve it. Take care, and I'll see you in 2021.
Congratulations again to all of our business advocates, and thank you for what you do in advocating for our small businesses. We now want to recognize our established AEC firm winners. Our first winner is Carter Design Associates. Congratulations, Carter Design.
Good morning. It is such a pleasure to be here, and it is a great honor to receive an award as an established firm. As with any firm award, you're only as good as the team behind you. So first of all, I have to thank my amazing team here, who over the years has included amazing women architects. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. And as well, any firm that's established, any women-owned firm, certainly for me, it is the women that came before me. And I owe an absolute debt of gratitude to all the amazing women architects that I could look up to. And there were few of them, and that was great, as well as the other mentors that I have had along the way. And hopefully I'll be able to do the same for some younger folks here in the audience. Again, thank you very much.
Congratulations. Our next winner is Permit Us Now Bradlink LLC, Helen Collier. Congratulations.
On behalf of the Bradlink and Permit Us Now team, we are super excited and grateful to receive the 2020 Luna Award for established AEC firms in the Houston area. It's the first of its kind award, and we're thankful for that opportunity and the recognition. I look forward to seeing you soon and serving you in 2021. Thank you.
And our final winner is my good friend and owner of Picasso Contractors, Elizabeth Ponce. Congratulations, Elizabeth.
It's quite an experience. I never thought anybody would, acknowledge us or that they even know that we exist or that we've accomplished so much in so little. I am very thankful. And I know I can't do this alone. It's all because of all the employees and my team that's behind me.
Congratulations to all of our winners, and we want to thank you for being so inspiring, for the work that you do in our communities, for the work that you do within your respective businesses. We appreciate all of what you provide, and we thank you for the support that you provide to women in architecture, engineering, and construction. This wraps up our series, but it doesn't end our opportunity to spend time together and continue to stay engaged on social media. Please stay connected with us. We also want to take a special moment to pause and thank our Luna ambassadors. Your leadership has been great to our community. On behalf of the entire RHCA board and all of us that have been leading up Luna, we just want to say thank you. And if you're really interested in getting involved, you can certainly reach out to any of our Luna ambassadors to be involved next year. We'd also like to thank our presenting sponsors and our partners like ISP Studios, Veronica Torres with Torres Hasley Enterprises for making such an amazing Luna series this year. I want everybody to have a great day, and I want us all to stay connected in 2021. Please reach out to me, to our ambassadors, any of our panelists who have done an amazing job. We look forward to seeing all of you in 2021. Enjoy your holidays and be safe, everybody.